Before the first thunder rumbled above the world, when sky and earth were still unformed and the old powers moved unseen, a silent promise of storm lingered in the heart of creation. From this ancient tension, through darkness and prophecy, rose Zeus, the god of thunder, destined to rule Olympus. His story is carved deeply into the bedrock of Greek myth, one of fate, strife, and sovereignty, forever shaping the lives of mortals and immortals alike. The world was young when Kronos, last of the mighty Titans, reigned over heaven and earth. He was the son of Uranus, sky, and Gaia, earth, and he had seized his father's crown through guile and violence. Kronos, fearing the fate that befell his sire, received a dread prophecy. One of his own children would overthrow him. To subvert destiny, Kronos swallowed each child born to his consort and sister Rhea as soon as it saw the light of day. 3 children, Hestia, Demeter, and Hera, were swallowed by their father and disappeared into the darkness of his stomach. After them came Hades and Poseidon, each meeting the same grim fate. With the birth of her youngest, Rhea despaired of losing him as well. Guided by the cunning Gaia, she swaddled a stone in linen and presented it to Kronos, who, believing it to be his child, devoured the decoy without suspicion. The true infant, Zeus, was secretly taken to the cave of Dicte on the rugged island of Crete, where the earth and goat's milk sustained him. The Curetes, armed youths sworn to secrecy, clashed their bronze shields and beat their spears to drown the infant's cries, lest Kronos discover the deception. In the nurturing darkness, Zeus grew strong, his divine heritage untouched by the fear that shackled his siblings. Years passed and Zeus, fully grown, plotted the liberation of his brothers and sisters. Disguised, he returned to the house of Kronos. With the help of cunning Metis herself, a daughter of Oceanus, Zeus concocted a potion that forced Kronos to disgorge his offspring and the stone, now polished and sacred. Reunited, the siblings declared war. The Titanomachy raged for 10 years, shaking the roots of the cosmos. The elder Titans, led by Kronos and supported by their mighty kin, fought from the heights of Othry's. Zeus and his siblings, joined by those who would become the Olympians, took their stand on Olympus. The war threatened the birthright of all things. At the urging of Gaia, Zeus freed the Hecaton Shires, giants with 100 hands and 50 heads, and the Cyclopes, mighty craftsmen from Tartarus. In gratitude, the Cyclopes forged for Zeus the thunderbolt, a weapon of singular power. Poseidon gained a trident, and Hades a helm that rendered its wearer invisible. With these new instruments, the Olympians assailed the Titans. Lightning sundered the sky, mountains broke asunder, fires and storms ravaged the land. At last, the Olympians triumphed. The conquered Titans were cast into the abyss of Tartarus, their prison guarded by the relentless Hecaton Shires. Cronus was dethroned. His reign ended forever. Zeus divided the world with his brothers. He claimed the sky and thunder. Poseidon ruled the sea, and Hades presided over the underworld. Earth and Olympus fell to the shared governance of all. From his seat atop Mount Olympus, Zeus became father and king to gods and men, ruling with both justice and might. His authority was final. Even the other deities, proud in their own right, bowed to Zeus's judgment. He sat on a throne of gold, holding the aegis and wielding the thunderbolt. From Olympus, his gaze missed nothing: the rise of kingdoms, the fall of empires, and the prayers of mortals. His rule was not unchallenged. The practice of justice, dike, and the fulfillment of oaths, horkos, were his domains. Order and law radiated from his will. No mortal king, no lesser god governed without his sanction. Olympian peace was maintained by his decrees, and the gods attended his councils with careful tongues. The cosmogonic serenity was shattered when Gaia, aggrieved by the fate of the Titans, birthed Typhon with Tartarus as the sire, a monster greater than any before. Typhon, a colossal being shrouded in flames and serpents, threatened Olympus itself. When he emerged, gods fled in terror, some taking bestial forms to disguise their flight. But Zeus stood steadfast. Thunderheads gathered at his will. He met Typhon's wild rage with the fury of his bolts. The earth cracked, and rivers ran backward under their struggle. Despite his strength, Typhon managed to rend Zeus's sinews in a titanic grapple, hiding them away in a cave. It was cunning Hermes and resourceful Pan who helped recover them, restoring Zeus's power. Returned to full strength, Zeus unleashed his thunderbolts with irresistible force, finally casting Typhon beneath Mount Etna, where the monster's struggles shaped the fury of volcanoes. With Typhon defeated, the reign of Zeus was secure. He governed as the fulcrum of divine and mortal affairs. Through his union with Hera, queen of the heavens and goddess of marriage, Zeus maintained the sacred order of Olympus, though his dalliances with mortal women and goddesses alike added to the family of gods and heroes. In council, he was deliberate and forceful. The gods approached him for judgment, Athena for wisdom, Apollo for music and prophecy, Artemis for the wild, and Hermes for cunning and messages. Even his disputes with Hera were presided over with solemnity, though the queen's jealousy and Zeus's wandering eye often bred discord. Great men and heroes reckoned with Zeus's will. Justice and fate moved at his command. He ensured the sanctity of oaths and punished hubris wherever he found it, favoring mortals who respected the gods and dispensing suffering to those who defied the order of heaven. Many tales bound Zeus to mortals. He fathered countless sons and daughters who strode the living world, heroes whose names echo in ages unending. Through his union with Alcmene, he sired Heracles, the mightiest of all Greek heroes. With the lovely Europa, he fathered Minos, whose wisdom built the laws of Crete. The affair with Leda begat Helen and the Dioscuri, each entwined with the currents of fate. Even Perseus, slayer of Medusa, owed his birth to Zeus, who visited Danae as a golden shower. Though these unions endangered the order of mortals, they enriched the world with demigods and kings. Yet Zeus's favor was never easily won. Even his own children, should they forget proper homage or defy the gods, suffered his wrath. His interventions were not always acts of love or vengeance. Sometimes Zeus acted as agent of broader fate, shaping the destinies of men for purposes beyond mortal reckoning. He upheld hospitality, enforced justice, and preserved the sacred laws over all unions and treaties. When mortals strayed, Zeus sent omens, storms, or punishments in the form of monsters and riddles. Among the greatest of mortal conflicts, the Trojan War bore the invisible mark of Zeus's guidance. The seeds of war were sown when Eris, goddess of strife, threw the apple of discord amongst the gods at the wedding of Peleus and Thetis. Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena vied for its prize. Their contention brought before Zeus. Wisely, he delegated judgment to Paris, a mortal shepherd prince of Troy. Yet Zeus was not without his own designs. The fate of heroes and kingdoms was interwoven with his intent to reduce the overburdened earth of its demigod sons. Through maneuver and signal, by omens seen in flights of birds and thunderous storms, Zeus steered the course of the war, neither wholly in favor of Greeks nor Trojans, intent instead on the fulfillment of destiny. He watched as Achilles, another descendant of his line, battled Hector. He allowed Hera and Athena their intrigues, and permitted the gods to intercede on behalf of their favorites. When the time called, he turned the scale, giving victory and defeat as fate required. Always, his eye remained impartial, for his decrees were the fulfillment of necessity, not mere whim. No oath sworn by god or man was sacred without Zeus as witness. The Greeks called him Xenios, guardian of guests and hospitality, Horkios, protector of oaths, and Soter, savior in times of peril. He was invoked in contracts, marriages, and alliances. The sacred oak at Dodona whispered his will. Its rustling leaves answered seekers with prophecy. Zeus's punishments were legendary in their swiftness and grandeur. When Tantalus served his son as a meal to the gods, Zeus condemned him to hunger and thirst eternal. When Prometheus stole fire to uplift mankind, Zeus chained him to a lonely rock, sending the eagle to devour his liver each day. When Sisyphus dared to cheat death, Zeus consigned him to his ceaseless stone. Even with his power, Zeus was not unyielding. He might be moved by prayers, sacrifices, or the suffering of mortals. Phaethon's misadventure in the chariot of Helios ended with a cleansing bolt, but his sister's tears earned Zeus's mercy. The balance of mercy and stern authority marked all his deeds. Within the majestic halls of Olympus, Zeus's relationships with his family mirrored the delicate and often tense balance of the cosmos. His marriage to Hera was a complex union of power, passion, and rivalry. Fidelity was constantly challenged by desire, and jealousy was met with cunning strategies. Their quarrels and reconciliations echoed through countless myths, influencing the actions of gods and mortals alike. Other Olympian deities, both siblings and children of Zeus, pursued their own ambitions, occasionally clashing with his authority. Poseidon frequently contested Zeus's dominion over the seas, attempting to influence the outcome of maritime events and asserting his own sphere of power. Hades, by contrast, remained largely reclusive, diligently guarding the underworld without openly challenging his brother's supremacy. Zeus's progeny were numerous, each bearing a unique place in myth and reflecting aspects of his formidable character. Athena emerged fully armed from Zeus's head after he swallowed her mother, Metis, to prevent a prophecy that foretold the rise of a being greater than himself. Apollo and Artemis, the divine twins, were born to Leto, embodying the domains of light, prophecy, and the hunt. Persephone, daughter of the earth goddess Demeter and future bride of Hades, represented the cyclical balance of life, death, and renewal. Dionysus, born of Semele, became the god of revelry, wine, and salvation, bridging the realms of ecstasy and divine insight. The tales of Zeus's children shaped the broader contours of Greek mythology, illustrating the interplay between divine power, human-like passions, and cosmic order. Each child reflected a facet of their father's nature, wisdom, strength, judgment, or caprice, demonstrating how the legacy of the King of Gods extended far beyond his own deeds, influencing both Olympus and the mortal world below. Zeus did not dwell aloof from the world of men. Thunder and storms, heralds of his might, struck awe in the hearts of Greeks, who offered rich sacrifices at his altars. In sanctuaries at Dodona and Olympia, the faithful came to seek favor and submit petitions. The Olympic Games themselves were founded in his honor, a demonstration of skill and strength in homage to the supreme god. Kings and heroes, from Agamemnon to Odysseus, invoked Zeus before battle, seeking his approval through sacrifice. Oracles interpreted his will, sometimes mysterious, sometimes severe. His justice transcended personal feelings, serving order above all else. At times, Zeus roamed the earth in disguise, testing the customs of mortals and their regard for the gods. He appeared to Lycaon, whose violation of sacred hospitality resulted in transformation to a wolf and eternal punishment. Such tales reminded humanity that the laws of Zeus extended over all, hospitable or hostile, king or commoner. Though preeminent, Zeus was not omnipotent. Ancient prophecy and the ordering powers of fate, Moirae, stood apart, even above him. He could delay or shape outcomes, but not overturn destiny's final decree. For these powers, even the king of gods showed humility, consulting with Themis and the fates for guidance. This submission to necessity preserved the cosmic harmony, restraining Zeus from arrogance or injustice. Zeus's foresight was often at odds with divine will or personal desire. He cherished Sarpedon, his mortal son, yet could not prevent his death before Troy. He foresaw the coming of new powers, the birth of children who might threaten the gods themselves, and acted accordingly, seeking to preserve the order he had fought so hard to create. Thus, myth tells the story of Metis, whom Zeus swallowed to avert the rise of a rival, only for Athena to emerge as a champion without peer. As the supreme sovereign, Zeus's legacy endures not only through tales of thunderbolts and romantic pursuits, but also through the very foundation of Greek thought and cultural identity. To the ancient Greeks, he was the ultimate enforcer of order, the arbiter of justice, and the bulwark against the resurgence of chaos. His image, that of a majestic bearded father holding a thunderbolt and seated upon a golden throne, dominated temples, public festivals, and poetic works, symbolizing both divine authority and moral oversight. In every myth, from the epic struggles of the Titanomachy to the lives and fates of mortal heroes, Zeus's will intertwined with destiny, his actions reinforcing the sacred covenant between gods and humanity. He guided the moral and cosmic order, ensuring that justice, hospitality, and respect for divine laws were upheld. The Greeks honored him through sculpture, elaborate rituals, literary works, and public ceremonies, acknowledging the inseparable connection between the mortal and the divine. Zeus's influence extended far beyond the stories of his power and lineage. He shaped the ethical framework of society, serving as a model of authority, judgment, and responsibility. His reign from Mount Olympus was a constant reminder that even the mightiest figures must respect the balance of fate, law, and order. Thus, Zeus remains eternal, the thunderer and king, the greatest of all who rule from Olympus. His story, monumental in scope and depth, continues to echo through the halls of myth, literature, and the collective memory of humankind, inspiring reverence and reflection across generations. The saga of Zeus is not only the story of a god who shook the heavens, but also of the inseparable bonds between order, justice, and fate. His struggles were not only against the Titans or Typhon, but also served as answers to questions humanity has pondered for ages. Do you think Zeus was truly a just ruler, or did he often use his power for his own interests? Zeus was a complex ruler. In many myths, he acted as the upholder of justice, punishing hubris, protecting oaths, and maintaining order among gods and mortals. Yet he also used his power to pursue personal desires, such as his numerous affairs with goddesses and mortals. So, he was both just and self-interested, reflecting the duality of divine authority in Greek mythology. Does the fact that Zeus was bound by fate, rather than above it, weaken his power or make it more meaningful? Being bound by fate does not weaken Zeus. Instead, it gives his power a deeper significance. His authority was exercised within the cosmic order, respecting the limits set by prophecy and the moirae, fates. This shows that true leadership in mythology is not about omnipotence, but about guiding the world responsibly while respecting forces greater than oneself. Now it's your turn. Share your thoughts in the comments. Was Zeus truly a just ruler? How do you see his relationship with fate? And if you were in his place, how would you have governed Olympus? Every comment helps us explore mythology more deeply and broadens our perspective. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our new mythology content. In our next episode, we'll focus on one of Greek mythology's most mysterious and captivating figures. Don't miss it.